All right. Hello again, adventures, and welcome to another exciting episode of Mastering Astral Projection, your map to running RPGs online. See what I did there? Because Mastering Astral, it's spelled map. Yeah. So hi. I hope you guys enjoyed the last episode. If you're still kind of trying to figure out exactly what this is, I have seen a lot of pushback since everything has happened. Of people not wanting to run Giga Games online for quite a few different reasons. And none of them really made sense to me because I have been running online games for like 6 or 7 years. And all the issues that people would tell me about that they're afraid of coming up were never issues for me. Or if they were really minor ones that we were able to get over. And after watching a comedic short film specifically about running a game online, I realized that the things that I don't see as a problem, people are really worried about and have had issues when running Giga games online. So mastering astral projection, which would effectively be how in a D&D world or a high fantasy setting, that's effectively how you would do something like a Zoom call. You would use astral projection. So I'm doing this as a series effectively just to show you and inform you of the things that I do that make my games run successfully. Like I said, I've been doing this for like 6 or 7 years for a bunch of different people. And while I have had some pitfalls and things like that, overall, I could keep doing it, and people enjoy it. So the topic we're going to be covering today is going to be about how to interact with your players and with the characters in order to keep them kind of absorbed into the game. I mentioned in the last video that you should encourage both before and after the game to have some chatting time. You know, let people get comfortable with each other as just people. And then there needs to be kind of a hard switch, which I call the countdown, where you go from, hey, we're chatting to, hey, we are playing. Well, in addition to that switch, you should change how you interact with them, just as you would want them to change how they interact with you. And there's quite a few different ways to do that. One of the ways that I've talked about this before in my series, Creating Your Role, where I talk about how to be a better role player, I mentioned the idea of using character names instead of player names when you're communicating with people. Now, so excuse me. Now, some people get really turned off by, and this was actually one of the tropes in that film I saw. One of the things that will turn off quite a few people is that one player that doesn't drop character. And as an actor, I'm not particularly fond of method actors in general, where the entire time you're either running the show or filming thing, they never do drop character. I think it's an asshole move, and I don't think it gives them the benefit that they think it does. It's a marketing stunt. That's all it is. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm not saying, no, you must stay in character. If everyone is in character, then they can't come out of the game. No. It's simply, when you're playing the game, you address everyone by their character name. Doesn't mean you always have to be speaking in character or anything. Doesn't mean they always have to be speaking in character. One of the things in a couple of the games that I play, we do is if we have to speak out of character, we just go like this. So out of character, what am I thinking? I will still, as long as we're actively running the game, I will still go, well, Commander, this is what it is. I don't turn it into I'm trying to roleplay with you always, because that can really bother people. But simply by getting them used to answering to their character name versus their player name when you are playing will help to reinforce the idea of we are in this world where we're right now. We're not in this world. Again, one of the most difficult parts of running a game online is the fact that if you're in a game store or you're inviting people over to your home, you can control the environment. You can control the distractions to a point. In an online game, you can't, because every single person is in their own space with its own set of distractions, and you have no control over it. So what you want to do is kind of draw people out of their space and draw them in to your space. So again, talk to people as their character names. Me personally, I have always been really, really bad with names. Most of my employees, when I could work, I would tell them day one of training, by the way, I need you to wear your name tags all the time when you're here. It's not a uniform thing. It's not a power thing. I won't know what to call you. And more likely than not, for the first month that you're here, when I see you, I will look at your chest first, because that's where our name tags are. I'm sorry, I'm looking at your name tag because I quite literally will not be able to put a name to a face for a couple months. So that's why I will always look there first, and then I will look you in the eye and treat you like a normal human being. So for me, when I'm running a game, again, I stream my games. I'm looking at an overlay, and on the overlay, I have everyone's characters' names that are there so that the audience can see. So that's kind of how I started calling everyone by their character names, because those are the only things that were there. I have certain players that I played with for years that I don't know what their real names are. I have always called them a character name. Yeah, I make this really big emphasis to call them their character name. Don't make a big deal about it. Don't try and use it as a way to kind of force them to get into character. Treat their character name like you would treat their regular name. You know, if the player's name is Becky, but her character's name is Eowyn. It would be something simple. Hey, Eowyn, why don't you give me a wisdom perception check? Hey, Eowyn, it's your turn. What do you want to do? Hey, Eowyn, do you have your dice on you? I lost my dice for some odd reason, so I just need you to make a D20 roll for me. Things like that. Again, it's not that I'm talking to Eowyn, the character. I'm just, while we play, everyone's name is the same as their character. And again, it helps to get past all the noise around you and the distractions, to kind of just keep reminding yourself and the other people there that you are playing a game. On this is the same wavelength, because the DM plays so many roles. I do have a lot of characters that are a lot of players that, while we are playing, will just call me DM or GM or something like that. Not really as an honorific, but just because it kind of fits. I've never told anyone, okay, I want you guys to call me DM or GM when we're playing, and I will of course still answer to Jody. But it's just with me always calling them by their player names. It just kind of happens. This is sometimes, and again, that's kind of the mindset you want. Is you want the players to be thinking of, we're in this world, we're not in this world. Now, with that, something that good good DMs and GMs will do at the table that you will almost always forget to do online is eye lines. When you are at a physical table and you want one of your NPCs to talk to a specific player, it is remarkably simple to just turn, face the player, make eye contact, and converse with them, going, this is what I want to do. And then if someone else talks, you can just turn and look at them. That's not how it works when you're on camera. Generally, how things work is you will have somewhere on your computer or device, whatever you're using, you will have some sort of representation of the players. When I do the tech stuff of a video, we will talk about the idea of audio over video and the things like that. But most of my games are a mixture of audio only, and then video and then audio. So you'll have people that look like they're looking at you. And you will make eye contact with them. And this is what it looks like when I'm making eye contact with someone, or I think I'm making eye contact. I'm looking away from the camera, and you lose a little bit of the connection. So something, and this is something that trained film actors have a hard time doing. And there really is no easy way to learn this other than do it. You need to learn how to talk to the camera. Like I said, this is a skill for film actors. It takes time to learn. Tricks that are used in film a lot. The one professional acting gig I had, what they actually had was we had one of the actors had to deliver a decently lengthy monologue, and a very personal monologue where he was addressing the audience directly to camera. And so what happened was the AD, the assistant director, just went and literally put his face right next to the camera, like literally just pressed his face right up next to the camera, so the camera was here, so that the actor could have something to look at and something to emote to that wasn't, a circle with a lens. So if you're having trouble talking to your camera, get a stuffed animal, get a little, cut out of a face, anything like that, and just place it right next to your camera, on top of your camera, just so that it's very, very close. Because right now I'm talking directly to camera, and right now I'm talking just above camera, and it's really hard to tell the difference. Again, you can tell the difference eventually, and if you're looking for it. But for the most part, it's much closer than this is when I'm attempting to address someone. This looks like I'm talking to someone completely else, and it's really, really distracting for the players, and it will take them out, especially if an NPC is talking to their character. So learn to talk to your camera. It will help keep people invested. Another thing that people don't think about along the same lines is, again, I used to do this at my tables when I ran at conventions, when I ran at game stores, the things like that. Is you would turn and you would talk to a character, and they would know that they were being talked to because you were looking right at them. Anytime you're talking to camera, you are looking right at every single player in the game, because they're all getting the exact same feed. So something you have to get used to doing when you are running NPCs and things like that, online is you need to describe things you normally wouldn't, specifically eye lines for the NPCs. Um, Depending on your DMing style, this may be a very minor switch or a very major switch for you. But doing things like as the NPC, let's say you have an NPC named Mary, who's a sorceress, and she's kind of conferring with the party. You're trying to figure out something. So you start describing what's happening. Mary starts pacing around the room, and suddenly she gets this expression, and you can almost see a light spell go off above her head. Then she turns and looks Matthias. Let's say that's one of the characters' names. She turns and looks Matthias in the eye. Or she turns and looks at you, Matthias, and says, I can't believe it. I can't believe we were this stupid. Why didn't we think of this before? Then she turns her gaze to Emily, who is another character. Then she turns her gaze to Emily and says, Emily, do you have that length of ropes still that you kept in your bag? As weird as this sounds, mentioning every time the NPC, or most of the time, the NPC changes their gaze and telling the players who they're looking at is something I forgot to do a lot at first. And just by adding those little extra bits of description so that the players know exactly who is being spoken to, and adding other things as well when you're narrating a character. You know, instead of it always being, oh, she looks at this person and says, it could be she furrows her brow, and then suddenly it seems like a light has turned on. She goes over and she places her hand on your shoulder, Matthias, looks you straight in the eyes and goes, I can't believe we've been this stupid. How could we miss this? Those little extra things of she places a hand on your shoulder, or other ways that she can interact, or NPCs in general can interact with the players. To let them know that, oh, this conversation is happening between me and the NPC are really important. Again, what we want to do is get them absorbed in the world of the story that you're telling. And anytime they have to go, are you talking to me, or are you talking to that's taking them out, because they have to suspend that immersion for a second to go, okay, who's doing the by thinking about what's going on and addressing the idea of, she turns towards, Frederick and talks to him, and then she goes back, she turns around and seems to be speaking to no one in particular. It doesn't always have to be directed at a specific player, but anytime they are speaking to a specific player, make sure you're putting something in there that lets the player know, oh, I'm addressing you. Again, at the table, it's really, really simple. You turn to them, you make eye contact, and they know you're talking to them. Online, you can't do that. If you talk to one person by talking to the camera, you talk to all the people. Yeah, that is the basics of this idea. When so kind of a brief kind of overview. Make sure when you are not playing the game, address people as their real names if you know them. If you're like me and can't remember, ask everyone to put their names somewhere so you have a cheat sheet. But when you're doing that pre-chat and that post-chat, talk to people like you were to talk to them on this street. However, once you do that countdown, once you're into the game, address everyone as their character name. Doesn't mean you always have to address them as their character. They don't always have to be in character the entire time. That's a real turnoff to some people. However, just by using their character name instead of their player name, it will continually remind them that I am in this world, I'm not in this world. When you are talking to your players, learn how to talk to your camera. We'll go over it again when I do the text stuff of a video or episode of this. But for the DM specifically, a video is a huge asset. Even if all of your players are doing are only sending audio, it is almost essential for the dungeon master, the game master, to have a video, because that's going to be one of the things that helps to bring people in, and it's going to make your job a lot easier. However, when using video, you need to learn to talk to the camera, and don't feel bad if it feels really awkward, if it's very difficult for you. It is difficult for most people. Professional actors have to get training to be able to talk to a camera. It's a weird thing, and people generally aren't good at doing it. So don't feel bad if it takes you a while to learn it, but it is a necessary skill if you're running things online. And then finally, when you are addressing players, ensure that the normally kind of unnoticed body language and unspoken communication you are describing. If your NPC is talking to a player, make sure they go, Mary turns to Matthias and says, I tend to prefer using more second person pronouns. So Mary turns to you, Matthias, to keep them invested. Or Mary goes over and places a hand on Elizabeth's shoulder and says, you know, again, doing those little bits, extra bits of narration so that the players are sure when they are specifically being spoken to, and when the NPC is simply speaking to the group, can again bring them into the game more. And your NPCs should speak to individual characters every so often. Just as in any conversation, you will have sometimes when you're just kind of talking to the entire group of people there. There'll be sometimes when you specifically talk to someone. Maybe you have a question for them after they've told us a story. This is how natural conversation works when you're speaking with a small group. So your NPCs should single out players to have conversations with them, or direct lines of conversation at them. And in order for the players to understand that, you need to narrate that they're looking at you, or they've given you something. They've reached out their hand to that player. All of these things will help bring people into your world and keep that immersion up. That is so much easier to do at a physical table, but is by no means impossible to do online. Anyway, that's going to be all for this one. As always, if you enjoyed this, please hit the like button. It lets me know you liked it. It lets Google know you like it. And if enough people let Google know that you like it, they might let other people see it. So that's important. Also, be sure to hit the subscribe button. This is a brand new series. I'm doing this as a series in addition to my D&D deep dive, which I generally put out 2 to 3 times a week. And because of Tasha's, I'm going into overdrive for it. So I'm putting out a lot of content right now. Subscribe to the channel so you can get it right to your subscription boxes, and hit that notification bell so that you never miss any of the episodes. Because sometimes they come up at weird hours, but because my mental health is not kind to me. in the comments below. Let me know, have you ever had a DM that addressed you as your character name? Or went even further and would only address your character and wouldn't address players once the game was started. I'm always interested to hear those little, I guess not really horror stories, but those kind of interesting interactions where either it was something really cool that you really enjoyed, or it was a massive turn off, and you made sure to not get in that situation again. Put those stories in the comments below. Otherwise, again, that's all for me today, and I will see you guys in the next time, all right? Bye-bye.